views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Is everybody ready? How's everybody doing tonight? All right. So let's get comfortable, let's get situated. We are too blessed to stress in the Bronx. You are in the place to be in Pelham Bay Park. Greetings and great day, and welcome to the Friends of Pelham Bay Park Spring Fundraiser. Ladies and gentlemen, give yourselves a round of applause for being here. And we are so happy that you are here joining us to celebrate a bright future and summer fun at Pelham Bay Park and Orchard Beach in the Bronx. I'm Michael. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know who I am? I'm Michael Max Nobby, the Executive Director of BronxNet, your public service multimedia network, celebrating 25 years of public service, and with BronxNet studios at Lehman College in the East Bronx, at Mercy College in the Hutch Metro Center, and soon to be BronxNet in the Hub in the South Bronx. And we have a team here covering this epic event today because history is happening right now. Some outstanding Bronxites are being recognized today. And together, we are celebrating the largest park in New York City and raising vital support for much needed for conservation work in Pelham Bay Park and much more. It is my distinct honor to introduce one of my sheroes, an exemplar when it comes to civic awareness and community engagement. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in sharing some love for the president of Friends of Pelham Bay Park, Milka Martel.
How's everyone feeling? Thank you, Mr. Michael Max Nobby. We truly appreciate you emceeing our event this evening. BronxNet is a fantastic resource for the borough with interesting and cutting-edge programming. For those of you that don't know, Michael Max Nobby was one of our honorees last year. He does a terrific job promoting the Bronx and everything that's going on here, so thank you, thank you. For many of us here tonight, Pelham Bay Park and Orchard Beach hold a special place in our hearts. We have childhood memories on the beach or on the basketball court. We remember barbecues with our families and friends, or the first time we visited Bartow Pell. I was sharing with someone from Bartow Pell just a little while ago that my dad used to take us on these long walks. I live by Parkchester, so we used to walk from Parkchester to Westchester Square, and there was a comic book store, so we used to buy some Archie comic books, and then we used to walk over to Pelham Bay Park, and he'd tell us, oh, sit down and read your books, and he'd have binoculars, he was looking at birds. He never really knew about the birds, but he was like, look at this one, it's really nice. We're like, thanks, Dad. But these are the memories that I think everyone in the room shares of this beautiful park. I know I speak for all of us at the Friends of Pelham Bay Park when I say that we feel privileged to help preserve and protect the park. We speak and act on behalf of all of you, all of the people who love and care for Pelham Bay Park and Orchard Beach. And we work hand in hand with New York City Park Department to promote public programming and enhance accessibility for all who love this amazing green space. It seems unbelievable, but the Friends Group has been around doing this work for over 25 years. Some people will remember that we purchased the first beach wheelchairs in New York City. And that we bought the first outdoor fitness equipment pieces in the park. And we established a sensory garden at the playground for all children. And when I say we, I mean all of us. These things would not have been possible without the generous support of all of you who have donated over the years and who help us advocate for for enriched opportunities and for fair and equitable funding in Pelham Bay Park. Alongside our park partners, we have also worked with our elected officials to garner capital monies for several key projects, such as the creation of the accessible pond walk, the restoration of the American Boy statue, and drum roll please, the restoration of the pavilion at Orchard Beach. Yes, we can't wait for that project to start. The Friends continue to co-sponsor many events that have become staples in the Bronx, such as Earth Fest, which, by the way, is this Sunday, so I hope to see some of you there. Bobby Gonzalez's Native American Festival and other educational programs for special need kids. Each year at our fundraiser, we have much to celebrate. Not only the park, but all the truly special people that we're honoring tonight. And we are back by popular demand at our favorite place in Pelham, the Pelham Split Rock Golf Clubhouse. So we'd like to thank the manager, Donald Zahner, and American Golf Corporation for their continued generosity in supporting our event. Tonight, even before we turned on the lights, our sponsors made our fundraiser a success, and we are truly thankful and appreciative of all of them. Councilmember Mark Donai, 5J's Automobile. I don't know if Kevin's here or if he's outside. I can't handle 1J, he has 5, so I think he's outside, but thank you to Kevin. The Schuyler Hill Funeral Home, is there anyone who represents the funeral home? No? Cummings Sales and Service, thank you. I think that Jeannie and Susan are in the back, but thank you very much. The Bartlett Tree Experts, and the Pelham Community Growing Association. So thank you so much for helping us make this night possible. I would like to take a moment to point out some of our Friends board members and to acknowledge some folks who have joined us here this evening. So if I call out your name and you're on the board, if you could just stand up, that would be great. Our Vice President, Deborah Byrne-Dolinsky. She is here. Yes, Barbara. Barbara's right here. Our Treasurer, Peter Quinones. Our Membership Secretary, Samantha Halpern. Amelia Zino, our Recording Secretary. That's my curly hair friends. We have a special bond, Amelia and I. Our Communications Chair, the fabulous Deborah Y. As well as Marisol Halpern, Lovey Pignata, Clint Robinson, our past president, Lisbeth Gonzalez. Liz, I did see you around here. And for all of those who come so regularly to our meetings, our events, and our projects. There are so many individuals in this room that deserve acknowledgement, but I'd be here for the duration of the time, and you really don't want to just hear me talking. So thank you for coming out and supporting this worthy cause to give back to our community. I would also like to ask our beloved Commissioner, Iris Rodriguez Rosa, to come up and introduce our first honoree. We are truly blessed here in the Bronx to have Iris as our commissioner, and those of you who know Iris know what I mean. She is one of the hardest working people that I know. I often go to meetings and then I run to another meeting and she's at the first meeting and then at the second meeting and at the third meeting and I'm like, Iris, we gotta stop doing this. So thank you very much for always supporting our efforts.
Thank you, Milka. Can we give a resounding round of applause for Milka Martel? Because she's all over the place and everything. Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much. Thank you. So for me, it's an honor and a privilege, as always, to be able to be here with you tonight. So good evening, everyone, and I want to welcome you, of course, to the Friends of Pelham Bay Park Spring Fundraiser. We're so very, very happy to have you here with us to celebrate this particular grouping of people and the summer fun at Pelham Bay Park and Orchard Beach. And I have to say that this is absolutely amazing. And I want to thank so many people that are here because they believe in the effort and what is being done here at Pelham Bay Park. So just to share with you, does anyone know, and one of the things that I have to say, this is the biggest park in the city of New York. Everyone here knows that, right? Okay, can someone raise your hands and tell me exactly how many acres you believe that we have? Oh no, none of the staff. Okay, I have, okay. Bob? 2764. Oh, close enough. We have 2772, but that's it. You got it. That's it. Okay, thank you. So this is, understand this. Everybody talks about Central Park, but this is like 3.5 times the size of Central Park. So everyone needs to know about this wonderful, wonderful park and jewel that we have here in the Bronx. Oh, I hear what you're saying, Councilmember, thank you. Unfortunately, I have to share with you that Commissioner Silva could not be here with us tonight, but he sends his most fondest regards and his appreciation for all the effort that the Friends of Pelham Bay Park have done. It is truly a productive partnership, and we're very, very, very grateful for the over 25 years that the Friends of have been around, dedicating their commitment and their time to the park. We are joined, this is a gentleman that is near and dear to me for many, many years, because I have to always acknowledge him. Our first Deputy Commissioner, Liam Kavanaugh, who's always supportive of everything that is done in Parks. And I have to say, the public-private partnership that we have with New York City Parks are amazing and resource, and we are able to accomplish so much together. And we just heard of a small thing of what Milka had mentioned to you, but there's so much more. This is the perfect time for me to be able to acknowledge the many people that work tirelessly every single day to make sure that this partnership goes on, and also to that they work very hard in everything that they do. And I have what I call him the Deputy Borough Commissioner for me, and the Chief of Operations, Larry Scooms, who's here with us this evening as well. And we have to acknowledge now, think about this, you know, many years ago when they built buildings and they built parks and things like that, they didn't think about the needs that people have in terms of accessibility. And we have someone here tonight who works with us tirelessly to make sure that the capital projects and all projects that go on are accessible to all. And we have Chris Noel, who's our accessibility coordinator, here with us this evening. Thank you, Chris. And to say that what can I say about the person that I'm going to mention now, because you all have got to give a resounding round of applause for this individual, because she works so very hard. Your very own Pelham Bay Park Administrator, Mary Ann Anderson. Of course, her dedicated staff, Christine Zagorski-Kelly, who's the Deputy Administrator. Alfredo Perez, the Special Events Director, who makes sure the rules are followed. Maria Luisa Cipriano, Samantha Halpern, and Liv Corey. I'd also like to acknowledge also that we have some people here from the recreation staff, the Parks Bronx recreation staff. So we have Gustan O'Neill and Claudette Richards also that are here with us this evening. So what I'd like to be able to say, for me, is an honor and a privilege. This gentleman that I'm about to introduce, and he knows who he is, I have the pleasure of introducing him. It's a man that I've known since I started here in 2015, but I've heard about him as far as when I worked in Queens. And I'm so happy that the Friends are honoring him this evening. So if you can please join us up here, Assembly Member Mike Benedetto. So, also, many of you, when you talk about a gentleman that believes in parks, the other thing that the children do is that they go to school, right? Well, this gentleman had a 35-year career in teaching in elementary and secondary level schools, am I correct? And when you teach, then the kids go out to the park. So he is very supportive of parks for many reasons of that. He was first elected to the State Assembly in 2004, and he co-founded, I didn't know this, You co-founded the Bronx Times Reporter in 1981 with John Colazzi, did you? That's wonderful. Thank you very much.
You're doubting my biography?
No, I'm not doubting it, but I didn't know that. And he's a supporter of all the activities that Community Board 10 has and the green spaces that we have. Especially when he talks about Pelham Bay Park and he talks about Ferry Point Park all the time, don't you? You always mention it to me all the time, from day one that I came into this borough. He's helped the Bronx Recreation also organize the Halloween celebrations at Pelham Bay Park, specifically geared towards the special needs children. So you can appreciate that, Chris. So this gentleman here cares so very, very much for our parks and playgrounds. So thank you, and we are honored to be able to have you here tonight and to honor you on behalf of the Friends of Pelham Bay Park.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Commissioner. Very kind. You know, it's kind of interesting coming here today, Pavlovian instincts and everything. I came here, I went down, I parked the car, I came halfway up here and had to stop because I realized I'm not here to go golfing. So I had to turn around and bring my golf clubs back to the car and then come on up. So that's why I was a little late getting here today. I've got lots of great memories of Pelham Bay Park. I was talking to one of the nice ladies in the news media before. My earliest memories of Pelham Bay Park was when I used to live in Country Club on Campbell Drive. Okay, so look at me, and you realize this is a long, long time ago when I was a little kid. My mother used to walk up to the park, which I guess has to be a couple of miles, every single day, because back then, one of the big health fears was polio. The polio vaccine wasn't out then. And she had read that bring your kids to fresh air, bring your kids to wooded areas and grassy areas. It's healthier and it could help prevent them from getting polio. Whether that advice she got from some magazine, it was correct or not, I don't know. But she did that, and she walked here to Pelham Bay Park. I remember going and strolling with her and coming here. And maybe that just stayed with me because I brag about this park up in Albany, especially to the Manhattan people. Okay? Oh, Central Park this and Central Park that. If you don't shut your mouth, we're going to divide Pelham Bay Park into 3 parts, and you will be the 4th largest park in the city of New York. It's 2 golf courses, the bird sanctuary, the ball fields, the track, the stadium that's there, and that's what we have to do, by the way. We've got to do some sort of, forgive me if you live in Pelham Bay or near the park, some sort of amphitheater type thing, so concerts can go out there. This is a gem, and we were very, very proud in the Bronx delegation to back our borough president with the efforts to restore Orchard Beach and the Orchard Beach Pavilion to where it should be. And there's so much more that we could do. We're going to be there as long as you need us and to develop it. Parks are just wonderful. Okay, and I think they cringe when they would hear me coming down in City Hall, or they were coming to see me about something, because they would have to ask, by the way, Assemblyman, what would you like for your district? And I would rant about Ferry Point Park. And I would say, we need that ferry down there, and we need that parking lot. There's a 3rd world parking lot in Ferry Point Park. You fixed the one over in Pelham Bay Park 15 years ago. We need it. And they're finally doing it, and they're giving us, the wonderful people down at City Hall, they're giving us the ferry in another year, and they're gonna fix up that parking lot at Ferry Point Park. And that's wonderful, what the Bronx needs. I want to thank Commissioner, I want want to thank Mary Ann, I want to thank the staff, and most of all, the people from the Friends of Pelham Bay Park for all that you do to keep the park in the condition that it is. And you can always count not just on myself, but on the Bronx delegation to listen to you and try to give you guys what you need, okay? Me, together with our borough president, my good partner in this area representation, Councilman Jonai, we will continue to do what we can to help fund this park. Thanks so much for this honor.
Thank you, Assemblyman Michael Benedetto. Thank you. Another round of applause for the Assemblyman. Thank you for the work that you do. And thank you also for joining us each year in the winter months in February at the Winter Swim Against Homelessness at Orchard Beach, where we work with Bronx Works, and we'll be celebrating next February, 2020, 10 years of the Bronx Polar Bears Winter Swim Against Homelessness with Bronx Works. Who's in February? Orchard Beach, let's do this. Who's in? So, while a lot is moving to the cloud, this next gentleman prefers to keep the maps and memorabilia in the Bronx, close to heart and home. Please welcome the Vice President and Treasurer of the East Bronx History Forum, Tom Vasti.
I've been asked to say a few words about Tom Casey, and that's not possible. Nobody that I ever met has more irons in the fire or wears more hats than Tom. I met Tom at John McNamara's 90th birthday party. That's about 20 years ago, if not more. John being the eminent Bronx historian, I was seated with Bill Toomey and his wife, Tom Casey and his wife, and I brought my wife, and we were all seated around Nick DeBrino and his wife. The less said about Nick, the better. He's not here. Even if he was here, it wouldn't make any difference. I started talking to Tom, and I found out about his, at the time, 5,000 card Bronx postcard collection. I now have 1,000 Bronx postcards, thanks to him. And my wife mumbles every time she sees them, something about Casey this and Casey that. When Bill Toomey started the East Bronx History Forum, Tom was on board, I was on board, and Nick was hanging out the window. People who don't know Nick DeBrino, you don't know what you're missing. But it gives me great pleasure to honor a man that I consider one of my mentors. He's up there with John McNamara, with Bill Toomey, and Tom Casey.
Thank you, Tom. It's now up to 7,000 different Bronx postcards.
Sounds like a throwdown competition.
I want to thank the Friends of Pelham Bay Park, their members and their guests tonight for this honor. I want to thank Commissioner Iris Rodriguez Rosa. She not only is she a supporter of Pelham Bay Park, but I know you're at every event that has to do with parks, from St. Mary's Park to Pelham Bay Park, and some of these parks are always touched by me. Seton Falls Park is another one of my favorites. I want to thank the Pelham Park administrators, Mary Ann Anderson, followed you from Van Cortlandt over here, and her wonderful staff. Congratulations also to Mike Benedetto, who's been always helping everybody in the Bronx and all of our organizations. And of course, him and John Colazzi, who's over here, founded the Bronx Times Reporter. And I want to thank them and Laura Guerrero for always giving support to our various organizations. Welcome, Councilman Jonah. Welcome. He's our councilman now over at the Huntington Free Library area in Westchester Square, and already is very much in touch. He gave me his cell phone, I guess even before he was elected, but we knew it was a sure thing. So, I also want to thank guests and all honorees Anthony and Paul Ramirez from the Bronx Beer Hall on Arthur Avenue. So mark on your calendars Saturday, May 11th for the Taste of Bronx event at 1 to 6 at the Huntington Free Library. They'll be there. Yes. I want to thank the board members and friends of the Bronx, East Bronx History Forum, a lot of my friends and members there, friends from the board and members of the Bartow Pell and City Island Historical Society. What I'd like to do from the Huntington Free Library is partner that triangle, the Westchester Square to Bartow, Pell, and City Island. I guess a lot has to do with the fact that back in 1776, patriots, a small group of patriots, just about one brigade, stopped the entire British Army when they tried to cut across the Bronx, landed at Westchester Creek. They were stopped there on October 12th. We stopped them there, not me, the patriots. I'm not that old. October 12th, 1776, and then they went up to Pell's Point. Matter of fact, they were right out front the door here, right between the Pelham Bay course and the Split Rock course, and it was stopped. That allowed Washington to retreat to White Plains and eventually over to Trenton and capture Trenton. So that's a very important historical fact that we like to talk about at the Bronx Historical and the East Bronx History Forum. I want to thank friends from Bartow Pell Mansion Museum. They got First Fridays. I'm always there First Fridays. You got to come out to Bartow Pell. And of course, we got the Kentucky Derby on May 4th coming up. I just want to briefly talk about some of my personal recollections of Pelham Bay Park. Starting right when I was 6 years old, when I would come out to Orchard Beach, and this was the way I was to finance my little playthings, because I used to collect beer bottles on the beach right at 6 years old. Pretty much spent the whole day collecting beer bottles, and don't tell Mary Ann, but I also purchased beer for some of the teenagers that were there. Got an extra 5 cents tip. Then when I was about 12, I was out there shooting my bow and arrow at the archery range just up on Shore Road. But unfortunately now it's a nice little forest of pine trees. Then I was shooting down at the Rodman's Neck when I went into the Treasury Department. And then when I hit 21, I was taking my girlfriend on a classy date. So where did I take her? I took her to Bartow Pell. And beautiful gardens and a beautiful museum inside the rooms. And I guess it worked out because tomorrow is our 40th wedding anniversary. Me and Sharon. I think I should have eloped. Maybe I've been closing in on 50 now. And after 30 years with the Treasury Department and shooting at Rodman's Neck, and also shooting golf balls, because we always had our law enforcement outings right here on Split Rock and Pelham Bay. It's been a pleasure leading hikes and doing lectures and talking about the naval base that was here in World War I. Everybody knows Humphrey Bogart and Edward G. Robinson were out here getting trained. Also, the monorail that ran through City Island to the Bartow train station was the first monorail that was a public facility. So these sort of topics are always pretty important to me and our history groups, and we talk about them all the time, always looking for new discoveries. But I just want to go back to George Washington. If it wasn't for the Battle of Pell's Point, we would be having tea time, not just at Bartow Pell, but we would be having it year-round. So I want to thank everybody for this honor, and I welcome everybody to participate, not just for these events, but for all sorts of events that go on at Bartow Pell, Huntington Free Library, City Island Historical, all of our events. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas X. Casey, for your dedication to the history and heritage of the Bronx. And notice that's a big X in the middle name right there. It's springtime in the Bronx. The plant life is blossoming and the birds are singing. And you know what? Let's welcome the lovely Milka Martell back to the microphone.
Taking pictures.
Look at that. She's singing like a bird. How many folks here have gone on a bird walk? I recently had the honor of, with some of our team, Walter Garricoa here from the BronxNet team and Hannah, of joining Joseph McManus on a bird walk in Pelham Bay Park. We saw owls, we saw, it's just like little treasures, little gifts of nature that are here in the Bronx. There's so much of an urban wilderness here. And kind of to share more and to share about our next honorees, please welcome Milka Martell.
Thank you. So it is with great pleasure that I introduce the last of the evening's honorees. These brothers have taken the Bronx by storm, a true force to be reckoned with, uplifting the borough passionately and wholeheartedly. Most of us associate them with the Bronx Beer Hall, but there's so much more. Their first endeavor was Mainland Media, with a mission to improve the image of the Bronx. Mainland Media has established itself as the media influence company that knows the true Bronx. Their second endeavor, From the Bronx, setting out to prove to the world that the Bronx is as rich with culture and history as any other city. Working with some of the most talented Bronx artists, designers, and photographers. From the Bronx is the premier designer and creator of Bronx-themed merchandise in the world. Their third, the Bronx Beer Hall, is located at the Arthur Avenue Retail Market, offering a rotating selection of local craft beer, yummy food, and tons of fun. And their latest project is Taste of the Bronx, which I think Tom just mentioned, May 11th. They'll be at the Huntington. So Taste of the Bronx is featuring a monthly pop-up market with locally sourced products as well as a subscription box. Where do they find the time to do all of this is beyond me. But the Ramirez brothers have been supporters of the Friends of Pelham Bay Park for several years now, allowing us to host fundraisers at the Beer Hall and teaming up with us in 2015 at our Oktoberfest event here at Turtle Cove. So without further ado, Anthony Ramirez II of Paul Ramirez.
Wow, thank you. Thank you. So I'm Anthony Ramirez II, and I'm Paul Ramirez. The first is over here, by the way. So first, there are two of us. We might pass the mic back and forth. We'll see how it feels. But I just want to say thank you to Nilka for that amazing introduction. You make us sound really good. I appreciate that. Let's also give a hand to our MCs, Michael Max Nobby and his new beard. Michael Max Nobby and his new beard. Looking good. They're both doing a great job. So both Paul and I are honored to be honored here tonight. We're both born and raised in the Bronx, and over the past 13 years, we've started 4 businesses. 4 businesses. Which sounds pretty impressive when you say it out loud. Impressive and overwhelming and exhausting and frustrating. A few weeks ago, we were at a planning meeting for the Bronx Beer Hall's new comedy night called Figs in the Hall, which takes place the 3rd Thursday of each month. I'll give you a minute to put it in your calendar if you want. Everyone done? Okay. So anyway, we're at this meeting with the host, Mike Figs, and he says at the end of the meeting, I want to learn more about the stuff that you guys do. Why 4 companies? Did you inherit it from your parents? So I laughed. And I laughed and I looked, I was like, my parents gave me braces, OCD, crippling anxiety, but not businesses. But later on I was thinking about it, and he was right. Of course it makes sense that we inherited our work from our parents, because our work is a big part of who we are, and it's really a direct result of how we were raised. We were taught to place family and friends first, even before ourselves. We were taught to be good and moral and considerate. We were taught to focus on the positive while we work on the negative. And that's really 100% of what our Bronx businesses do. To show the world that the Bronx is a positive place, and it's as rich with history and culture as any other city in the world. From Orchard Beach to Hunts Point to City Island to Riverdale. So when the Friends of Pelham Bay Park chose to honor us, they really chose to honor our family. Our parents, Tony and Janet, who are sitting right here at this table. That's a lot of applause. I'm not even done. Our youngest brother, Derek, who's also our graphic designer, sitting at this table. That's the last Ramirez brother, by the way. Our Titi Evie, who's also visiting from Puerto Rico, over here at the table as well. And my girlfriend, Angie, who hasn't seen Bartol Pell yet, but maybe I'll take her, who knows? So, they chose to honor our family, they chose to honor our communities, and really, they chose to honor the Bronx. Because without all of that, we wouldn't be here. So thank you very much. And thanks to all of you. I'd like to leave you with a quote from President Barack Obama that Paul and I both came across during a career day that we recently did at the Pelham Lab High School. And I hadn't heard this one, but they had it on the wall, and I thought it was pretty good. Change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for, and we are the change that we seek. Thank you.
Okay, so while the batteries are being changed in the microphone, I just want to remind everybody that there is a raffle, and you have maybe 5 more minutes to participate, to receive an opportunity to experience the Bronx like you never have before. And hey, another round of applause for this Bronx Does It Better dynamic duo, Anthony and Paul Ramirez. You guys are truly Bronx strong. You and the entire Ramirez family. Hashtag Taste of the Bronx, hashtag Bronx Beer Hall, hashtag From the Bronx. So while you have an opportunity to make these raffle purchases, to get ready for summer and summering on the Riviera of New York City, everybody here is going to have a special gift. It's coming around the room, and it is a way to kick off the summering in the Riviera of New York City with this special Friends of Pelham Bay Park gift for you. Friends of, oh my gosh, look at this. I'm gonna put this on right now. I don't usually wear hats. All right, so look at that. So Pelham Bay Park is big, beautiful, and biodiverse, and it takes a tremendous team to maintain Pelham Bay Park, and tremendous people like Pelham Bay Park Parks Administrator Marian Anderson and her team. A round of applause for Marian Anderson and George Torrance and the entire Pelham Bay Park team. And, you know, there's a lot of people that help make this happen. Please, let's acknowledge together some terrific folks that have made this event possible, including Assembly Member Mark Jonai. A round of applause for Mark Jonai. 5J's Automotive. Jim McQuaid and the Schiller Hill Funeral Home. Cummins Sales and Service, celebrating 100 years in the Bronx. Bartlett Tree Experts. And special thanks to the fundraiser committee members, Deborah, Alfredo, Samantha, Maria, Luisa, Clint, Lynn, and Peter. They've all worked hard behind the scenes here and at other events. We'd also like to thank all the individuals and groups that have donated to tonight. Pelham Bay Split Rock Golf Course, from the Bronx Beer Hall, NBC Universal, the Bronx Zoo, especially John Cavalli and Daisy Rodriguez, Turtle Cove Golf Center, the Bartow Pell Conservancy Board and staff at the Bartow Pell Mansion Museum, the Bronx Equestrian Center, the City Island Nautical Museum, the Bronx River Alliance. Hey, you start the day right when you start the day with Morris Perk Coffee, the Bronx County Historical Society, Loving the Bronx, and the City Parks Foundation. Thank you, everybody. We're going to give you an opportunity to network, but really participate in this raffle. Experiences at the Bronx Zoo, experiences on City Island. This is what you could win tonight. A Bronx River experience, Pelham Bay Park and Orchard Beach experience. Hey, how about a golf foursome at this beautiful golf course, Pelham Bay Split Rock? That is worth quite a bit. And that is being raffled today. Is there any questions? Anybody have any questions?